Hi, I'm Coach Stephen Arnold, and in today's lecture, we're going to go a little bit deeper into nutrition. So let's get into it. Number one rule of nutrition and weight management is the laws of thermodynamics. Calories in versus calories out. I'm sure you all know what a calorie is, but basically every single action that we take, whether we're breathing, whether we're pumping blood around our body, whether we're moving our arms or blinking our eyelids, or whether we're digesting food or regulating body temperature or balancing hormones, every single function in the human physiology requires calories, energy. And every single thing that goes into our body has an energy content as well. So whether we're eating or drinking a cup of tea, everything that goes in has a calorie content, everything that goes out has a calorie content. And at the end of a 24-hour period, it's the equation of how many calories went in versus how many calories went out that determine your body weight. So if you eat more than you need, you're going to gain weight. And if you eat less than you need, you're going to lose weight. And that's the number one fundamental law of thermodynamics, the number one rule of nutrition. So that if you're concerned about body weight, that's the number one thing that you need to be concerned about. Things like the keto diet, the paleo diet, intermittent fasting, all of these diets, all of these belief systems, they work because they apply the laws of thermodynamics. It's not because removing carbohydrates works, or not eating before lunchtime works, or eating to this, or eating these foods, or eating that. They don't contribute towards better fat loss. They contribute towards thermodynamics. And this is the only way you will ever lose weight, is if you apply laws of thermodynamics. If you eat less than you need, you will lose weight. And it's as simple as that. There's no other way around it. It doesn't matter how you go about it. That has to happen, that has to be applied for weight loss to occur. The second most important factor when it comes to nutrition is macronutrients. So this is when we're talking about protein, carbs, and fats. These are your macronutrients. These are what make up calories. So everything you eat will have a protein, carb, and fat content. And these make up total calories. So 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. 1 gram of carbohydrates equals 4 calories. 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. And we do have alcohol as well. I don't like to really consider that a fourth macro, but some people do. That has 7 calories per gram. So this will make up everything that you eat, and at the end of the day, you add up all these to get your daily total calorie expenditure. So, for example, things like meat, that's predominantly protein, but they will also have a carb and fat content to them as well. And things like potatoes, they're predominantly a carbohydrate source, but they're going to have a very small protein and fat content within them as well. And then things like almond nuts, they're a fat source predominantly, but they will also have a slight protein and carbohydrate content within them as well. Now, calories will determine body composition. So how much muscle you have, how much fat you have, that is determined by the macronutrients that you consume. If you had a diet of all protein, you might be hitting your protein, but without the right macronutrient content as well, you're not going to have hormonal production, hormonal regulation. You're not going to have the energy that your body requires to build muscle, burn fat. So you're going to look terrible. And the same with carbs and fats. If you had too many carbohydrates than you needed, your body weight might go down, but you're going to look like shit because you haven't got the right macronutrient content. And then after macronutrients, we have nutrient source and nutrient timing. So what time you eat your nutrients at, and what source you get your macronutrients from as well. The sources that you choose will have different micronutrients. So the source that you have micro nutrient content as well, so things like magnesium, vitamin A, B, C, zinc. What else would we have? We'd have sodium, potassium. All of these things are micronutrients. We call them micronutrients because we need them in micro amounts, whereas the macros, we need them in macro amounts, a bit larger amounts. So we have these in milligrams and we have these in grams. So obviously you can hit your protein, carb, and fat sources per day, but if you're getting them from poor sources like chocolate bars and protein shakes, ice creams, that's going to affect your overall health. So Calories are the most important factor when it comes to nutrition or when it comes to weight management. The second most important factor are macronutrients, how much protein, carbs and fat you have. And the least important factor are the nutrient source and the nutrient timing. So when people say like, shouldn't eat after 8 o'clock, it's total rubbish, because it only matters how many calories you consume over a 24-hour period, not what time you eat them. If you miss a meal, it doesn't matter that much, because the total calories that you consume over a 24-hour period are going to matter way more than what time you eat them at. So just eat that meal later in the day, push it back. As long as you get all those calories in at the end of a 24-hour window, you're going to be doing fine. So don't overstress the small factors. This is probably out of scale, but we can see even on my diagram, calories are far more important than what time you eat them at. If we were to put it into real scale, it would be like calories would be the whole board, and then macronutrients, source and time would be down here. You wouldn't even see them, because that is so much more important than any other factor. And then once we have good basic nutrition in place, once we have good protein, fat and carb source spread out in our meals, and we're getting enough calories, because despite what a lot of people think, we look at the fundamental laws of weight loss and we go, okay, I need to eat less than I need to burn fat. So if I just eat a very minimal amount and do a large amount of exercise, that should equate to larger fat loss or larger fat reduction. But it doesn't work like that, because human physiology is a unique and very, very advanced survival mechanism. And that's the sole purpose of human physiology, is to stay alive. That's the number one rule that your body, the number one objective that your body has, it's to stay alive. So if you do try to absolutely starve the fat off and drop your calories to the floor and increase your exercise by 1,000%, your body's going to look at that and go, that's too much of a deficit. That's too big of a gap for us to close. So we're going to reduce our metabolic rate. We're going to reduce the amount of calories that our body burns. We're going to downregulate our temperature regulation. We're going to downregulate our hormonal production, the energy that we output. We're going to reduce all this, because if you carry on at this huge deficit, eventually we're going to run out of fat cells and run out of fat stores and die. So you need to make sure that the calorie deficit that you're in is about 10 to 20% less than what you need. If you drop your calories to the floor and extend your calorie output, then it's too big of a gap for human physiology to sort of play along with the game. If you reduce your calorie output by 10 to 20%, if you reduce your calorie intake by about 10 to 20% less than what you need, that's where optimal fat loss is achieved. That's where your body's happy to chip along. The way I look at that is, the way I try to explain that is I use an analogy. Think of your body and its fat stores as a bank and cash reserves. If you have lots of little checks coming in every day and you're getting lots of money coming in every day, you're happy to pay those. You're happy to pay those bills. But if you get a large bill come in and you're not getting enough money coming in every day, you're like, I don't know if we can pay that. If we pay that and we get another bill tomorrow, we're going to run out of cash pretty soon. So you would go, okay, stop. Let's do a review of our finances. Don't pay any bills. Don't let anything out. Let's just have a look at the situation and see if we can pay this large bill. And it's the same with energy as well. If you're writing large energy deficit bills, your body's going to look at it and go, it's too much. We can't pay that. Shut the bank. But if you're putting food in at a regular basis, regular times every single day, and you write these energy bills, your body goes, we can pay that. We can pay that. We can just like get away with that. We'll get away with that. And eventually, fat loss will occur in a consistent fashion. All right, what else is important when we're looking at nutrition? So obviously, nutrition is going to determine our body weight, and it's also going to determine our body composition, how much muscle we have, how much fat we have, but also it contributes towards our health. And this is where micronutrients come in. So micronutrients won't really affect your overall body weight throughout a day, and over a course of a day it won't affect your body composition too much either. But long term, these micronutrients add up and they contribute towards health. And the healthier you are, the faster that 10 to 20% calorie deficit is going to take effect on your physiology. And obviously the healthier you are, the better body composition you're going to achieve. So good nutrition will consist of good, wholesome foods, lots of vegetables, lots of rotation, and lots of available calories and healthy minerals and vitamins. So if you're always taking your food sources from ice cream, chocolate, protein shakes, you're going to be short in micronutrients, and this will long term take effect on your overall health. And remember, health is what keeps us alive, and it also affects the rate at which we can lose weight. The healthier you are, the quicker you can lose weight. The next thing to consider when we're looking at nutrition is compliance as well. We want to make sure that the nutritional system that we're installing or we're applying, we can stick to. We want to make sure that it's easy to stick to. I can design the world's best nutritional protocols for you. I've worked with the best sports and fitness models from all around Australia. So I know what gets the optimal results, but for people that aren't looking to compete in sports and fitness modelling, it needs to be something that they can stick to long term, and this is going to give us the best results. We need to make sure that you're also being compliant to these calories, and you're not missing things like sauces can have lots of calories in them. Like those big Tennessee barbecue sauces, they got a huge amount of calories in them, and also things like hidden calories, like the drinks that you drink like sports drinks or fizzy drinks. These all have high calorie content in them as well. So make sure that you are being compliant to the calories that you eat and you're not missing things, because if you come back to me and say, look, I'm not losing weight, this diet's not working for me, I'm not sure what's going on, but the reality is you're drinking 2 cans of Coke a day and smothering all your chicken in deep Tennessee barbecue sauce, it's probably because you're having 400 calories a day more than we think you are. So we need to make sure that we are being compliant with what we've got. And next, that leads into enjoyment as well. So you need to make sure that what we're doing is enjoyable for you. Make sure that nutrition is enjoyable. Successful weight management and health don't come as a result of suffering and sacrifice. They come from a sustainable, compliant, enjoyable health approach or nutritional approach. You need to make sure that you're enjoying the process. If you don't enjoy it, you're not going to stick to it, and you're not going to get long-term results. You might get short-term results, and then you're going to give up on it because you didn't enjoy it. So make sure it's enjoyable. Give me that feedback so I can change things and make sure it's enjoyable to you. Include the foods that you enjoy. And even if that means like you have 1 or 2 meals a week where you're off the plan completely and you go out and enjoy the things you want to enjoy. You might not be like that. You might enjoy healthy foods, but have a look at how much enjoyment you need from food per week. Some people need to have enjoyment. Some people don't. Like for me, it just doesn't bother me that much. Going out and eating food just doesn't really like give me satisfaction or enjoyment. It's just not something that's on my radar. But some people it does. And if you're trying to resist or cut those things out of your life, then the nutritional system's never going to work for you. It has to be enjoyable. So look at that and incorporate it in. And you might be like on a Saturday, you might eat at base calories, or you might even be at a 10% surplus. But for the rest of the week, if you're on a 20% deficit for the other 6 days, you're still going to lose weight. So nutrition doesn't have to be about restricting everything and missing all those nice foods. Keep the foods in, like a bit of dark chocolate in the last meal of the day every day is a good thing. It's not the end of the world. So make sure it's enjoyable and sustainable. Make sure that you can stick to it long term. Don't think of it as a diet. It's not a diet. It's a new way of life. It's a nutritional system or a nutritional strategy that's going to help you move towards your goal. It's not something that you're going to stick to with willpower and motivation for 6 or 12 weeks or 6 months, because willpower and motivation will always fail, give up and lose. It needs to be sustainable. So have those little diet breaks, have those little foods that you enjoy, and make sure that what you are doing is enjoyable. And the next one is averages. Your body will reflect what you do on average. It will adapt to what it perceives to be the average, which is why it's important to eat at regular intervals every day. Meal 1, 6 o'clock. Meal 2, 11 o'clock. Meal 3, 3 o'clock. Meal 4, 7 o'clock. Every day. And if you eat at the same time every single day, it's like your body's getting those paychecks. It's getting that income into its bank stores every single day. Even though you're asking it to write big bills, you're giving it money at regular intervals, so it's happier to pay those energy deficit bills that you're asking of it. And with the averages, when we look at averages and talk about averages, that's 100% real. So if you slip up or you make a mistake and you go out and you have a drink and it leads into 4 drinks and then leads into a kebab on the way home and then leads into a fry-up the next morning, it's not going to completely ruin everything. Your body adapts to what it perceives to be the average. So if you have one meal off plan or over your calories, just get back on track the next day. Get back into your system. Don't think that by eating one meal over, it's completely wrecked everything. It hasn't. Your body will adapt to what it perceives to be the average. So just keep being consistent and make it sustainable and make the averages add up. Nutrition has to be enjoyable. It has to be something you can stick to, and it has to be in a calorie deficit to achieve fat loss. But you don't need to be in a calorie deficit every single day. Alright guys, I hope that's helped you to understand nutrition a little bit better. If you do have any questions, bring it up with me in this week's phone call. Take care, and I'll see you all on the inside.